What have you done so far? The last time we saw you were putting raisins in or something.
Yeah. I started out with where's my little measuring cup here? Started out with 3 of these cups of cornmeal and 3 of whole wheat flour, and then I just put maybe a half a cup of sunflower seeds and kind of a mixed assortment of the fruit raisins and pumpkin seeds were in this blue cup here, blue, and then I cut up some fruit, some dates and some prunes and just a few, and there was also some apricots which I cut up and put in, and then perhaps about 2 tablespoons of salt, sea salt, which I roasted and ground up in the mortar and pestle and threw in.
Why did you roast it?
Yeah, just so it makes it easier to grind. It makes it, it just breaks down.
Gives the bread more energy.
Yeah, makes it more yang, if you roast anything. And then I should have put only about 4 cups of water in, and I think I might have put 5 or maybe even 6, so I got it too watery. So then I have to put a little more flour in, and I'll just knead it all together here until it becomes the consistency of my earlobe. Then I can knead it out and pop it in the oven.
Can we all feel your earlobe to find
No,
out
but
the
you can.
consistency of it?
Yeah, I'll pass it around if you wait a minute.
Your earlobe?
Yeah. No, the bread. Well, you can see how it's starting to really get nice and heavy now. It's starting to.
Let's see.
Really.
Let's feel it with the videotape.
Yeah, let's just stick the camera right in here and I'll push a little bit of
Squishy.
dough through the electronic apparatus. Well,
It's not yet the consistency of your earlobe though.
no.
It's more like.
But you're kind of lucky that I made a mistake, because you'll get more bread out of it now.
Aha.
But, well, to make a little philosophical comment about this process, it's the process of the eternal universe, what is George Shaw calling the unique principle of the universe, and Buckminster Fuller goes along with him and says, oh, it's ephemeralization, do more with less and all this. But I was pretty yin kid when I was learning how to make bread, and I was just sitting around having my mind getting stoned every day. And then I was living with this fellow who was baking bread and selling it at the clubs in Stockholm, and I tried it out. It was really good therapy for me, because it let me sink my hands into something really that could feel. It was kind of an easy way to accomplish something, and it was kind of a yangizing therapy for me that was something easy to learn how to do, and of course it's nice to eat, so. Yeah, okay, so this is very yin bread because it's all fruit, but of course you can make, well, actually the bread that I prefer making bread with whole grain berries in it, wheat berries or rye berries or buckwheat, and you just roast those. I guess you could even use rice, brown rice. You could roast that until it starts to crack, until they start to kind of, well, wheat berries start to pop open a little like popcorn. Here you can see it's starting to get a bit more of a consistency that you can start to knead out on a table. But of course you can use any kind of cooked cereal or flakes or something, you know. I guess granola would be good to put in it. But for a dinner bread, it's I think for myself, my own personality, I prefer plain bread, because if you want to get kind of orthodox about the principles, that some people say it's not healthy to mix fruit and vegetables, so usually you have vegetables for dinner, and so it's nice to have just plain bread that isn't conflicting in the stomach.
What?
Well,
Who says that? Who's there?
well,
Who's
I don't know if that's Giorgio Chavez. I guess it's a woman by the name of Ilse Klausnitzer from Stockholm. She says that, well, there's two different kinds of enzymes. Well, there's more people than her, I'm sure. But
any onions around?
yeah, there should be.
Yeah,
But there's
I was gonna make pancakes for this big batch of people.
Okay, I was going to do an omelet again. I guess I'll keep putting my omelet.
But are there enough
You
eggs?
can do both.
I don't know, I haven't checked the egg scene.
You can do both.
This is nonsense.
You didn't,
No, it's about like
Okay.
Right.
Well, somehow on this scale, it comes out to be 9 pounds. I think it's a little off. I think it's more like maybe 5 pounds. Because I'm used to weighing in kilos, so maybe this is right. Anyway, I put an egg and some powdered milk. Let's see, about a half a cup of powdered milk, and maybe a third of a cup of molasses, and maybe half a cup of honey in it. But I haven't put any spices. Haven't put any real spices like cinnamon or. Okay. But now, of course, it's the most important part of it all, to knead it, to get all the air out of it, so it and to get all these cracks out of it. You can see here, and to get it all even consistency. And it's still wet, as it's sticking to the table here. So use a little more flour and knead that flour in all through the bread. And keep flour on your hands so this doesn't turn out to be too messy.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to making pie dough in some ways. Of course, that's the only experience I've had.
Well, see, the thing with pie dough is that you use a much finer flour, and then you can roll it out much easier. If you tried to roll this out, it would be too wet. Well, and it would, wouldn't be too good.
You also don't use oil, and that's probably what
Yeah.
makes the pie
Yeah, of course you can use oil in bread, but this is sweet enough. This is yin enough without, because of all the fruit in it. It's yin enough without the oil in it, and the egg and all that, and the powdered milk. It will make it kind of tasty, and so the oil is not so. Of course, I will oil the pan and oil the bread at the end. Kind of roll it in oil. Save some tape for that.
Okay.
Just a little sugar, just like raisins.
Now the bread is starting to come around a little bit here. You can still see if you cut it open, it's a little too wet. So
Why does the door keep getting
What happens
closed?
if it's too
So the flies will
Oh, well, I was leaving it open for the light. Let the flies get out.
I'm gonna sprinkle a little flour on that to kind of.
What happens if it's too wet?
Now it doesn't cook. Take, can bake it and bake it and bake it, and it still doesn't dry out. Yeah. But if it's too wet, then it doesn't need. Then it, if it's
what?
doesn't need me.
It gets sticky.
I have to feel needed in this process, or else it's in vain.
It really looks nice.
Jar anywhere?
Oh, sure there is.
Yeah.
One thing we got is jar.
There's some upstairs.
So the idea is to get it going fast here, and kind of get it going in a circle, so that all these cracks open up. Look at this one. Oh, that's a big one.
Open up?
Yeah, to open them up and then get them back together again. But,
Yeah, you just get the air bubbles out.
and sometimes you have to just do this. You have to just go through it and get it to an even consistency all over.
That looks like fun.
And then all of a sudden, unbelievably, it comes back together.
Naomi, are you going to be waiting for vegetables, or are you just going to do this thing straight?
Get your hands a little
There's
stuck
so
up.
many people that do it.
Okay.
So, you're using all your flour here.
I think we have more.
That's good.
What's it to be used for?
Yeah, absolutely.
What temperature do you set the oven at?
Well, I preheat the oven at about 500. Get it good and hot, and then about 15 minutes before you put the bread in, put it down to about 200, and let it stabilize, and then bake it at about 200 degrees for, depending out how big the loaf is. These could be baked for about between 2.5 and 3 hours at 200 degrees. And the upper part of the oven, that's of course the upper part of the oven is much hotter than the bottom part, so now it's coming along pretty good.
It's the captain of the bread board.
Captain Bread, Captain Doughball. The bread, that's the first process we do. That's not too hard. They're pretty cooperative little mothers. Yeah, and we just looks like I'm waxing your table, but really I'm not. I'm oiling it, and get the oil off your hands and just kind of roll the dough around in the oil here so it covers it. And can kind of knead it in a forward motion, kind of rolling it, make a little log out of it, and that'll, yeah, and turn it around, get it really going fast here. Get it going in your hands. This looks like
Galloping.
You're going to put it stuck up there.
I wanted to leave my prince here, my bread prince, my princely abilities.
Oh. You have some of the ceiling and bread now.
We could bake the ceiling now. Okay. Now we take this and put a little. It's sometimes if you pour, you can heat this pan a little bit by sticking it in the oven, and then when you put the oil on, you don't need so much oil, because the oil
Spreads more evenly?
spreads. Yeah. Of course, the oil gets thinner, and so you can spread it around the pan a lot easier. But since we're rich today, and then